Good afternoon, esteemed students, faculty, and staff of Norm College Nuval. Today marks a significant moment as we gather for the meeting de Avance, a platform where student council candidates will articulate their visions and platforms to lead our school community towards a brighter future. Let us embrace the spirit of democracy and active participation as we hear from the passionate individuals vying for various council positions. Before we begin, let's have our opening prayer to be led by Nicolay Quiapon.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. As we gather here today for this meeting de Avance, we ask for your guidance and blessings upon all the candidates for the Student Council. Grant them the wisdom to speak with honesty and integrity, the courage to stand up for what is right, and the humility to listen to the voices of their peers. May they approach this event with respect for one another, recognizing that each candidate brings unique talents and perspectives to the table. Help them to conduct themselves with grace and dignity, remembering that they are representatives of their fellow students and of you. Bless each candidate with the strength and perseverance to serve selflessly, putting the needs of others before their own ambitions. Guide them in their efforts to create a school community that reflects your values of compassion, justice, and solidarity. We lift up to you all those who will cast their votes in the coming days. Grant them discernment and wisdom as they choose the leaders who will guide our school into the future. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, and who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever. Amen. Mary of Nazareth, teach us your ways and lead us to Jesus. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Nicolay. Now, without further ado, let us begin this momentous event with enthusiasm and respect for our candidates. For introduction of candidates, as we embark on this journey of selecting our student leaders, let us first get to know the faces and voices behind these aspirations. Each party will be given 2 minutes to introduce their party and 2 minutes for each candidate to speak. Candidates, please stand up and step forward as your name is called. For the Harana party list, the candidate for president, Curve Unix Nidia. For the external vice president, Lauren K. Buela. For secretary, Lara Gabriel Sese. For treasurer, Isabel Nicole Janco. For grade 12 batch representative, Zuleika Riel Cotehar. For grade 11 batch representative, Princess Kadian Yumi Espiridion. For grade 10 batch representative, Rihanna Phoebe Milan. For grade 9 batch representative, Ryla Oli Dison. And lastly, for the grade 8 batch representative, Faith Dominic Simpao. And let us give a round of applause to our candidates from the Harana party. Ayan. Next naman for our, you may now proceed to your seats ulit. Thank you, Harana party. And of course, last but not the least, Star party. We have for internal vice president, Miguel Joaquin Ledesma. For treasurer, Santiago Uriel de los Reyes. For grade 12 batch representative, Julian Marie Awayan. And lastly, for grade 10 batch representative, we have Alicia Kellis Yamaguchi. So please give a round of applause to the Star Party. You may now proceed to your seats. So now, may we ask each representative and their party to introduce us to their parties, their candidates, and their platform for the next school year. The floor is now open for Harana Party.
ang isang taong tunay na nagmamahal,
bukas ang isip at nakikinig.
Kami ang Harana Party List. Haharanahin kayo ng serbisyo. At nais namin ang nais nyo.
kami ang Harana Party List. At ang Harana, it stands for Hangad ang Rektang Aksyon ng May Ambisyon. Next slide, sir. And it is our vision to establish a future where transparent leadership, active engagement, and proactive initiatives are prevalent in ensuring that every student's voice is heard and are catered to.
We are 9 individuals working together for the betterment of the school community by lending an ear to each student's voice, regardless of their background.
We will embody these through our core values: visionary leadership, student engagement and involvement, united ideals, and safe and comfortable environment.
Tong alay naming haranay,
Aksyon ay direktat.
Puno ng ambisyon?
Lahat ito ay para sa inyo.
Good afternoon. My name is Kirvinik Sidea from 11 Kalungsod, and I believe that the essence of leadership is all about inspiring others, and that is why I'm aspiring to be your student council president. Having been a student of Miriam College, New Valley since 2015, I have witnessed the growth of our school community through ups and downs, as I have also strived to embody our core values. Serving my fellow students and the community which raised me is my ambition and one that I intend to commit to with passion. As the president, it is my vision to transform Miriam College, New Valley into an empowered community where the potential of every student is recognized in my pursuit of establishing a community that is proactive. The Student Council does not merely pertain to the elected officers, but also encompasses every student in our student body in our advocacy for inclusivity. In representing you, my fellow students, I aim to instill awareness as part of my mission in shaping students that are proactive and immersed in fellowship and service. To our partner communities through a multitude of outreach programs in collaboration with the MISMO committee. The Student Council exists for you, and I desire to make that statement heartfelt by every student. With years of experience as an SC officer, I have managed to connect with the majority of students, allowing me to gather and relate with the experiences of every student in my vision, in my endeavor for a positive change where each student can shine unbridled as we, the Student Council, cater to your needs and interests. I am first and foremost a student just like you, but I am a leader who is fully capable of transforming your vision into reality. Once again, I am Kirvinik Sidea running for president at ibubuhos ko ang buong puso ko sa isang munting harana para sa'yo. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Lauren K. Pascabuela from 11 Ruiz, and I'm honored to stand before you today to humbly ask for your vote for Student Council External Vice President. Why am I running? Well, because I am just like each and every student in the high school department. I know what you want, and I want it too. I know how you feel, and I feel it too. I know what you dream, and I dream them too. I stand with you, and I would like to be your voice, the voice of every student who wishes to make the most out of their high school years in this school that we've been calling our home. What exactly do I want to accomplish? I want for every student to feel empowered and to feel that they belong so that they can focus on doing their absolute best in all academic and extracurricular endeavors. I will strengthen our school morale and satisfaction by looking after your well-being in implementing activities and events. As a hardworking, disciplined, authentic, and driven leader, I can promise you that I will work tirelessly to make that happen. I know that I can make a difference in our school, and I'm asking for your help so that I can do just that. Together, next year, we can make our school an even better place for everyone. Trust me. Thank you.
Magandang araw, Nollers! Maaari kayo ay nagtataka. Sino itong binibini na nakatayo sa inyong harap? Ako si Lara Sese, mula sa Harana Party List. Inaalay ang puso, boses, sipag at serbisyo para maging inyong susunod na SC Secretary. Nais kong magsilbing bilang inyong kanta't gitara gamit ang aking mga plataforma. Una, ang organisasyon. Mga linya kong isinusulat, walang detalyeng maiiwan at magiging madaling balikan at madaling intindihan. I aim to improve the Student Council's organization, to have better scheduling, and to stick to the schedules better, to keep track of the meetings and the flow, and to prove that transparency with security is possible with organization and carefulness. Kalawa, transparency. Ako ang mag-aayos ng paraan at daanan para marinig ang mensahe. Galing man ito sa SC o sa inyo. Sabi nga nila, communication is the key. Lalo na sa mga relationship, hindi ba? Kaya sisiguraduhin ko na kayo'y pakikinggan. At sisiguraduhin ko na makakasama kayo sa mga usapan at gagawin ko ito sa pamamaraan ng patuloy na mga proyekto katulad ng announcement board na may kasama ng financial reports at transparency na sa minutes of the meeting at pati na rin ang mga open meetings. At huli, presensya. Di ako mawawala sa inyong tabi, iyong gitara at kaibigan na kasama ninyo buong gabi. Muli, ako si Lara Sese. Iboto bilang inyong susunod na sekretarya, inyong binibini, laging makikinig, agad-agad kayong sasagutin. Ibubuhos ko ang buong puso ko sa aming munting harana para sa inyo.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Isabella Nicole Yanko, currently Tan Mabini's class president and running as your next student council treasurer under the Harana Party. As a student leader, something that I would want to other students to learn is learning the value of servant leadership. As through my experiences, I believe that learning this has been one of my strengths. And with this, I believe that honesty, integrity, and financial management skills are one of my qualities that would help me in making an organized, responsible, and trustworthy finance committee, and able to have a well-involved community. As I aim to run for this position, one of my main goals is to initiate good communication and collaboration within our community and able to improve transparency and accountability within financial matters. Thank you. Again, I am Isabella Nicole Dianco, running as your next Student Council Treasurer.
Good afternoon, MCN. I am Zuleika Riel Cotehar from grade 11 Kalungsod with the Harana Party, ready to be your next grade 12 batch representative. For my last year in MCN, I would like to give back to the community I was nurtured in. To be nurtured does not only entail caring for well-being, it also encourages the growth and development of individuals. Here, I was taught to be a servant leader, and for many years, this is the kind of leadership I embodied. Using this, I would like to create opportunities for the student body to showcase their talents, unleash their potential, and bring out their inner leaders. I envision a community that is engaged, involved, and empowered. My batch is just one out of all the integral parts of the MCN community, and their voices are crucial in building an environment that allows them to flourish with each of their unique strengths. I will ardently bring solutions to their needs and listen to their suggestions to make the most out of our final year and be well equipped to venture out into our own paths. Kaya ano pang inyong hinihintay? Sabay-sabay nating tugtugin ang melodya ng serbisyong matagumpay. Muli, ako si Zuleika Riel Cotehar, ang inyong lingkod sa darating na taon.
Ako si Yumi Esper John from Harana Party. tumatakbo bilang Grade 11 Batch Representative. Ako ay nasa inyong harapan ngayon dahil gusto ko patunayan ang taglay kong katatagan na ipaglaban ang aking batch. Sa mga nagdaang taon, naranasan ko na maging opisyal na leader sa aking mga naging pangkat at nais ko iyong ibahagi sa student body ng mas may polidong gawa, determinasyon at pagmamahal sa posisyong aking tatakbuhan. Sinisigurado ko na papangalagaan ko at diringgin ang mga pangangailangan ng kapwa ko kamag-aral. Hindi ko din ipagkakait ang pagiging leader ko, ngunit sisiguraduhin ko na ang bawat isa ay pag-iisahin upang makagawa ng pagbabago. Ako ay inyong maaasahan sa anumang gawaing itakda na may paninindigan at produktibong gawa. At sa pagtupad ng hangaring rektang aksyon na may ambisyon, taglay ko ang mga pangarap na may kaugnayan sa pangangailangan at karapatan ng bawat isa sa ating mga estudyante. Lahat kayo ay pantay-pantay sa aking paningin at hindi lamang ang aksyon ko ang kumikilos, kundi pati na rin ang mga boses nyo. Maraming salamat.
Good day, everyone. My name is Rihanna Phoebe Milian, and I'm from Harana Party List, and I'm running for Grade 10 Batch Representative for the next school year. If elected again as the Batch Representative, my goal is to ensure Batch's growth, health, and motivation. I'm aiming to maintain equality in our batch and the student body. I will ensure to listen to you and serve as your voice. I would like us to have balance in growing our knowledge and in our academics in a fun way. I will continue to uphold the MCN core values by making people feel safe around me, and this position will shape me and make me better as a person and leader. As I run for this position, I am motivated to work hard, and I am committed to continuously address the needs and concerns of the students. I want to maintain equality, fairness, and a positive environment in the batch. Again, I am Rihanna Phoebe Milian, running for Grade 10 Batch Representative, and I believe that all people have the potential to serve as student leaders. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Knowlers. I am Ryla Dizon, and I'm running for Grade 9 Batch Representative because I envision a batch that is socializing, studying, and collaborating in harmony. A coordinated batch that knows not only how to work together, but also knows how to interact and be open with one another. A batch wherein the students are comfortable expressing themselves. In order to achieve this, I want to emphasize on our committees and events more, and also emphasize on my abilities to lead my batch for the upcoming school year. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Faith Dominic Pontes Pao, and I'm currently running for the position of Grade 8 Batch Rep. I believe that my batch needs someone that they can trust, someone that they can approach. For me, being a batch rep is not only about leading, but also to be a friend to my batchmates. As batch representative, I strive to create a better, safer, and healthier environment for my batchmates. Additionally, I strive to promote unity towards my batch while at the same time upholding our MCN core values. I believe that if we are united, we will be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish as one. Once again, I'm Faith Sempao, running for your next Grade 8 Batch Rep. Thank you for listening.
Ayan, thank you, Harada Party, for sharing your platforms. Next, we have the Star Party.
Hello everyone! Kami ang Students Taking Action for Reform or the Star Party.
Just like the stars, we believe that every student deserves a chance to shine, which is why we want to take your talents, your skills, and your opinions in order to build a foundation for a better student council. We believe in the redistribution of power in the student council to the committees. Currently, the SC committees are not utilized to full capacity, which leads to the student council being the only ones to manage school events. It's not just important to empower the student body, but to give the student body the power to change these events.
Under our leadership, ang approach natin, we'll be shifting from having few large-scale projects. We'll divert this now to more mini but more frequent projects. We will discontinue projects that have not been totally successful in the past, such as the House Cup. And we will prioritize better time management to plan our fair and our prom. Under our leadership, we want our student council to be more interactive, to be more involved with the students that we are supporting and we are governing. So under this, we plan to commission our student content creators. We plan to work together with our student artists and our committees more so that they can be utilized to create better student council. Under me, I am Miguel Desma. I'm running for internal vice president. Pero before I start, ang gusto ko i-emphasize is, ano nga ba ang ginawa ko as a current SC officer? I am the grade 11 batch representative and I believe sa transparency. Number one, definitely, before I start, I would like to say that my platforms last year was proactive, progressive, and pro-student, which I still think are my platforms today. Now, under this, one of my priorities in my term was to make sure to involve and regularly hold meetings with class officers of both sections. As a batch rep, from September 2023 to May 2024, I was able to hold 6 class officer meetings, 2 batch officer meetings, and we were able to create 2 first quarter and second quarter comprehensive batch reports detailing the issues of our batch. Now, as IVP, I plan to implement this approach wider on a student council basis. Number one, definitely, is to highlight the importance of our student well-being and our internals committee. Sa ngayon, hindi siya ganun nagagamit. Pero under our leadership, we want to use them to their full capacity. Number one is under specialization. We want to have associations and committees. Associations are student associations where students can join them like a support group so that they can have better networks and better friends, have friends throughout their life in Miriam College of Valley. Number one is COSDA, Class Officer and Student Leaders Association. I believe that leaders can perform better when they are taken care of. Kung hindi natin pinapabayaan ang ating mga leaders, hindi sila maghihirap sa student council. So focus on having student leaders to be involved, to volunteer, to have experience, and to also have some mental health guidance. Number two, association idea is to have an LGBTQI association within the student body. In Darasal, Laguna, they have this organization called Kaleido, wherein it's a group chat. Pero here in Miriam College of Valley, I plan that we have a LGBTQ association so that their concerns can be raised towards their batch reps and towards the student council. And lastly, a therapy friend association so that if you have concerns that you don't want to bring up to your guidance counselor, you can experience training in the guidance through the guidance. And now for our batch rep, for grade 12 batch representative, J.M. Awayan.
My name is J.M. Awayan, and I'm running to be grade 12 batch representative. I stand before you today because I don't just want to be a student leader. I want to be your ally. I believe in 3 things. Number 1, I want to create a fun and memorable school year for my batchmates because it is our final year at Miriam College in Valley. I know inherently that senior high school is a stressful time period for everyone involved, but that doesn't mean that it has to be difficult. I want to foster an environment where skipping sleep or hellish deadlines isn't commonplace, and that student well-being isn't just a committee. Number 2, I advocate for progressive policy changes. Because I believe in student well-being, the regular batch updates and surveys are important. But what makes a student well is a complex issue. The needs of a student evolve with society, but the need for freedom stays the same. I advocate for reforms in policy, such as dress code, in order to give these students the freedom to express themselves. And lastly, I want to tackle upcoming batch issues. This school year, we have expected challenges, such as college applications and tight deadlines. But there will always be unexpected complications that I am ready to face with my batchmates. Thank you. Next is the Student Council Treasurer, Oriel de los Reyes.
Hi, I'm Uriel de los Reyes, and just like you, I believe in the need for change. I am tired of being stuck with ideas, being just concepts, and never leaving the suggestion box. I am proposing a major overhaul of the finance committee to optimize fundraising and management, working hand in hand with other committees so that we may disperse the workload to such specialized committees based on their face problem. And as for funds, they are the backbone of the SC. Without it, there will be no programs or events. What our projects bring are programs and reforms to improve fundraising, but of course, we cannot do it without your help. With your investment, it lets us invest in you in forms of much better programs centered around your well-being, and as a nod to honesty, you will be able to monitor our funds, where it's going, what we're doing with it, as well as its future plans. Because justice can't only be enforced by higher ups. But as students, you hold the power to bring even those in the SC to justice.
Okay, wishing on a star for a good afternoon to you all. I am Alicia Callis Iamaguchi from the Star Party, running to be Batch Purple's next batch representative. Now, why am I running? As I mentioned, I am running to serve, and I'm especially passionate about serving to be able to share what Christ has shared to me, one of which is his way of servant leadership, which I will use as my guide to be able to serve my batchmates well. Because a batch representative's role is to represent their batch, to be able to advocate for their batch's needs and address their concerns, to be the bridge for their voices to be heard. And if I were to be given the chance to run this position, I promise to work tirelessly to ensure proper representation and to act in the best interests of my batchmates always. So once again, I am Kalis Yamaguchi for Batch Representative. Thank you.
Let us all give our candidates a round of applause. Yeah. Now we head on to the question and answers portion.
I tend to consider myself a very comprehensive and organized leader. And as I mentioned from my speech earlier, I am a leader who is fully capable of transforming your vision into reality. And I am a leader that is very proactive in performing my duties in ensuring that every student is heard and that every student's needs and interests are catered in every projects that we plan to implement as a student council.
I apologize for the technical difficulties. We will start with the first question again. What type of leader do you consider yourself as? Apologies again. Given your responsibilities and your other members' responsibilities as student and academics and extracurricular activities, how can you ensure coordination and progress in student council projects?
As the president, I aim to implement or integrate some of the school's projects, student council's project, into the very minuscule aspects of student life in ensuring that every project and programs of the student council are where students are they can participate in every project that we plan to implement and act for them. And it is in this type of activity that right balance for academics and proper management in our responsibilities as the officers. This is how we can ensure that every student will be given the right opportunity to participate in the projects that we have in store for them.
Thank you. Next, for the next candidate for the internal vice president.
No.
First question, given the various challenges students face in school, how will you use your position to alleviate their pressures?
As an internal vice president, there are limitations definitely when it comes to our position. But the one thing that I see when it comes to how we can alleviate their situation, their pressures, is to regularly monitor and to advise the faculty, the administration, our teachers, and also class officers on the condition of our students. Number one, the IVP can hold surveys, not the usual G-form surveys. We can start holding face-to-face surveys wherein there will be committee members who will run in to the students, who will run in to the faculty and saying that this is the reality of the students are facing. We'll publicly show them that this is the amount of deadlines they have on one day or another so that they can see that, oh, they cannot keep putting more and more deadlines to pressure the students. They need to be aware of the conditions of the students so that there could be changes and their pressures could be alleviated.
Next question, as the internal vice president, how do you envision fostering a sense of unity, inclusivity, and belonging among our diverse student body, ensuring that all voices are heard and represented within the student council and school community?
I'll specify first on inclusivity. Number one, first inclusivity, as I mentioned, ang goal ko is to have associations. Number one, definitely for inclusivity is to have the LGBTQI association. Kasi, when I see the student council, the student body, there's a lot of, well, we can say, fruity members of our students. And I think we should really, because, when I was growing up, nung grade 8, grade 9, wala namang, in your friend group, there's no one who you can share, who can have a safe space with at that time. But now, post-pandemic, we have this opportunity to have associations where people can interact with each other saying, oh, in this what I'm facing, how do you come out to your parents? Something like that. So when you have that kind of environment that fosters togetherness and unity and solidarity, you're able to foster unity and you're able to foster togetherness with your student council.
Thank you. Now moving on to the next candidate for the external vice president. What strategies do you have in place to facilitate communication with our partner schools to foster collaboration and mutual understanding?
To ensure effective communication with partner schools, it's important to act as a team, and it's important to plan way ahead of time. It's important to assess areas for improvement from within the team. And if we were to collaborate with our partner schools, we would have to face them in a manner that exudes our core values, in a manner that exudes our beliefs as leaders, as individuals, as Miriam College Nuvali students. So to ensure efficient communication and efficient collaboration, I think we would need to work as a team first, work with our advisor, work with our school, and ensure that we are cohesive enough to represent ourselves outside.
Thank you. Second question. How can you ensure that students are well informed on the activities and programs that the Student Council will implement?
Besides sharing our plans and our activities, the schedules on social media, it's also important that we remind our faculty, the advisors, and the different teachers to also always stay updated with the announcements, the regular announcements. And aside from the digital mode of sharing these announcements, it's also a good idea that we establish a more traditional type of advertising the Student Council's activities by posting posters, infographics along the hallways, just to bring back that sense of nostalgia before the digital age um, revolutionized.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next candidate for secretary. For your first question, what characteristics do you believe an excellent secretary should have?
Okay, so when it comes to the characteristics that a secretary should have, first and foremost, what a secretary needs is organization. Because you're mostly behind the scenes. Unlike the EVP or batch representatives or president that has to interact a lot and show themselves a lot on stage, secretaries, they tend to stay behind the scenes more, and they're mostly the ones in charge of the documentations along with treasurer. So for me, I believe that organization, both mentally and physically, is a characteristic that would really be able to help a secretary with doing their tasks and their job.
Next question. As part of your responsibilities, you must ensure that official student council documents are properly organized. How do you intend to organize them for easy access and navigation?
So when it comes to the how easy it is to access, I think it's best if we stick to the platforms that we're already familiar with. So with that, I mean like Google Drive, which the student council has already used in their past years. But of course, when it comes to being accessed by students, there could be some things that can be changed with this. So a thought I had was maybe when it comes to photos and videos, aside from Google Drive, it could also be uploaded with the consent to something like a Google Sites. But what I mean is, for easy access, it really relies on first the way of sharing. So sharing it immediately with teachers, with even the faculty, and of course the students themselves, and also by putting them somewhere where it's easily accessed and there's no, not that there isn't security, but there isn't a limit to who can access it. But of course, it still has to remain protected and with consent.
Thank you. For the next candidate, please. Treasurers. Reminder, each candidate will be given 1 minute to answer the question. 1 minute per candidate. Assuming you have given the position of the treasurer, if money was not limited, what project would you first implement?
If I were given the position of being treasurer, of course, I would prioritize such projects that would initiate school engagement within our community, since as one of my platforms are the collaboration within the students. So one of my priorities are to set up programs that would get student interests and at the same time prioritize the students' well-beings. Thank you.
If money was not limited, I would focus more on the students' quality of life, such as small things as little materials they might need, such as 1/4 sheets of paper or intermediate pads, so that it might make their school life much easier and possibly lessen their stresses that they already are facing.
Next question. Can you provide examples of how you have demonstrated responsible and prudent financial management in the past, either in school or in other areas of your life?
In other areas, I am considered a bit frugal, so I know where to cut off useless parts of a budget or where we can retain only minimal parts of their area. I am also okay at selling and whatnots for most things. Sorry.
For me, when it comes to having demonstrated a responsible and prudent financial management, I would say this would start with having wise and good decision making in my personal life. And when it comes to showcasing this in other financial matters, I would include our past entrepreneurial activities in which I led and helped and guided our financial committee, which that those projects were successful, and which what pushed me into running for this position now. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer candidates. We now call on the batch representative candidates. Please stand in the front. Batch representative candidates, please stand in the front. We will start with the grade 12 batch representative. Step forward, please. First question. As a grade level representative, how do you intend to foster inclusivity and ensure that all voices within your grade are heard and represented in decision-making processes?
I think that it is important to have, as a batch representative, it is important to communicate one-on-one with your batchmates, as there are times that you would only hear about, that they are shy to tell their opinions to a wide group of people. So if I'm unable to communicate with them one-on-one, I have my batch officers, the class officers of each section, to help me with that and to collect all of their opinions so that everyone will be included in all the decisions that will be made with regards to SC activities.
I believe, first of all, it's important to foster an environment where everyone feels safe and welcome to approach you as a batch rep, and also to be able to recognize the strengths, the skills, and the opinions of our classmates or batchmates.
For me, as a batch representative, kinakailangan na meron tayong ability na maging approachable to all of our batchmates, and yung pag-promote din ng friendliness to all your batchmates, creating an atmosphere na parang warmth and they feel welcome. Tapos they can also rely on the class officers, and if not for the class officers, as a friend, you can be a leader, not just because you're in a position to be a leader, but also to be a friend to everyone, so that they could feel safe. So, ayan.
As a batch representative, I mentioned earlier that I wanted a safe environment for everyone. So by that, I would probably also include all of my friends, no matter how much they were being left out and something like that. And I would also coordinate with the class officers, as they would be the ones to also promote inclusivity and ensure that all voices are heard within our grade.
As a grade level representative, I intend to foster inclusivity and ensure that all voices within my batch are heard through proper representation. As a good batch rep, I believe should have three qualities, which are strong leadership skills, good yeah, strong leadership skills, approachability, and good communication, which through those three, I believe, will be able to make my batch more open to sharing their ideas, which can help in these decision-making processes needed as a student leader. Thank you.
As a grade level batch representative, I always need to present myself open to my batchmates. And we have to have good communication. Like, for instance, we can always be like, oh guys, musta kayo? Is there any problems? And if there are problems or suggestions, we can always inform it to like the teachers or the student council. And definitely, we can also make use of the batch kumustahans so that we can promote more socializations for us to be more open and promote harmony. Thank you.
Okay. As grade level representative, I intend to foster inclusivity and ensure that all voices within my grade are heard by wait, by having proper communication amongst my batchmates, because like I believe that if we don't have proper communication, then we won't be able to like make sure that other voices are heard, and like also by asking them like how are you and stuff, like, and then also by making use of the batch kamustaan so that they can like communicate. Yeah.
For the next question, grade 12 batch representative again, please. For our second question, what strategies do you have in mind to encourage greater participation and engagement from your peers in school activities and events?
One thing that I have noticed that decreased the participation of students this school year was that during the announcements of activities and events, a lot of the information were not yet finalized. So a lot of the students have questions that are left unanswered during the announcement of the events, which there these things cannot be answered immediately by the officers. They'd have to wait for the final say of the student council, and without the concrete idea of how the activities will be implemented by the student council, they lose interest in participating in the activities. So for this year, I think a lot will come down to planning and full details when it comes to announcement of the activities.
I believe in order to engage our batchmates and peers in school events, we need to be able to recognize their strengths and their interests. I've noticed that a lot of our batchmates, they tend to form their own friend groups and their own peer groups, and they don't really come together as a batch during these events, which is why I think that in order to make sure that everyone participates, we need to first build proper peer relations as a whole, not just as a classroom.
For me naman, as a batch representative, napansin ko na parang yung mga announcements, it's quite late, ganon. For me as a batch representative, para ma-encourage yung greater participation, kailangan yung announcement is engaging to students, yung sa mga interest nila, yung sa basically sa pangangailangan din nila, and kung ano yung what's best for them, kung ano yung majority na needs talaga nila. And for the announcement, it should be like earlier than a few months, ganon. And then ayun.
Strategies that I have is also open communication and through promoting, because through open communication, if ever students have questions, they could always approach me and I will answer them based on from what I know. And from other engagements, I would like to help them realize that this is also helpful for them in their growth in their school, not just as a student, but also as a person.
Okay, so one strategy I have in mind to encourage greater participation is through knowing my batch's interests and strengths. As a batch rep should be able to know their classmates well enough to know whether or not they'd like these school activities and events, which I can bring their voice through introducing some of their ideas to the student council, or by implementing one of my proposed projects, which was Batch Handaan, which was basically a mix of Batch Kamustahan with Handaan, as I've noticed that my classmates love food and is a great incentive for them to be able to participate and engage more in such activities. Thank you.
As a batch representative, knowing what my batch desires and their interests, I will always take their suggestions and inform it to the student council whenever. And always announce early when a event is upcoming. And yeah, yun lang. Thank you.
Okay, so the strategies I have to encourage more participation towards school events is by like announcing these school events a bit earlier as usual, and also by asking for their suggestions, interests, and yeah.
Last question for the batch representatives. Can you provide examples of initiatives or projects you would propose or support to enhance the academic or social experience of the students in your grade? Let's start with the grade 7 batch representative. And the grade 10 batch representatives. Grade 10.
So yes, I can provide examples or of initiatives of projects that I can propose, so that you know. Okay, so one of the projects I proposed was the Musikan at Kasayahan, wherein students can like showcase their talents like in certain events, like yeah.
For academic experience, definitely an initiative is to always remind my batch on like upcoming deadlines that are coming. And for social experience, a project that is good for this is the batch Kumustahan, which we can definitely make use of for more to promote socialness in our class. Thank you.
For the examples and initiatives or projects, we could apply from the previous projects that the batch reps had, which is batch Kamustahan. In there, we could not just only provide social experience, but also academic experience for the students, for like a group study while also having fun.
Okay, so I would like to use this opportunity to present three initiatives or projects I would like to propose to support and enhance the academic and social experience of the students in my batch. Number one, through, as I've mentioned, the batch Handaan, which is a social experience that will be able to bring the batch together as a whole besides the batch Kamustahan. And then second is the community lockers. The community lockers where we'll be able to share materials to each other such as pad paper, ball pen, correction tape, which I'm sure would be of use to everyone both socially and academically. And then third is the calendar 2.0 where we're going to be implementing a calendar system where our teachers could also see how much workload we have as students. Yan. Thank you.
Okay, so for me as a batch representative, yung initiative na masasabi ko is yung Lima-Lima Go, which is yung pinopose namin as a Harana party. Dun sa Lima-Lima Go, pwede tayong magkaroon ng ipon challenge in which lahat ng batch, each batch has to have like their own ipons for their classroom para magkaroon ng classroom repair. And para sa akin, they can also use that for materials na kailangan nila for their school like papers, ball pens, that will help them in their academic status.
One project I'd like to implement for academic purposes is the batch study sessions, where we can go across classrooms in order to help students or our peers in certain subjects. Because of the senior high school system, where we have two different strands, students from one class may have more specializations than students from other class, which if we have the time to interact with each other, we get the chance to teach each other something that we may not have learned from our own section.
Just to add to what my other party members already mentioned, they mentioned the Lima-Lima Go and Musikan and Kasiyahan. Other than that, one more of a social issue that we would like to tackle is it's our initiative is called Win Reproductive Health, wherein addresses the issue of women not having enough sanitary supplies in the restroom. So with this initiative, it's like a donation drive that puts that puts women's sanitary napkins or tissues or sanitary pads in the restrooms so that they would have access to these kinds of needs in each of the lavatories in our school.
Thank you, batch representative candidates. You may now take your seat. As we delve deeper into the heart of our meeting de Avance, it is time to pose questions to the parties as a whole, providing insights to their collective visions and strategies. Each party will be given 1 minute thinking time and 1 minute per question. Both parties. Both parties. We will start with the Harana party list. Please make your way to it. For the Harana party, what does it mean to you that the student council is composed of all students and not just the SC and or class officers? 1 minute thinking time starts.
For us, the student council's main power is the student body. Without the students, there would be no officers, and leaders only exist because there are students that we aim to serve, and that's the purpose of the student council.
As for Harana Party, ang perspective namin na what does it mean to you that the student council is composed of all students and not just the SC class? So basically, it means to us na yung mga projects na pinopropose namin, we rely on you guys, yung mga pangangailangan nyo, yung mga opinions nyo, dinededicate namin for our work because for us, it is not for us to do things on our own and mabibigyan kayo ng equal opportunities na makapag-speak up sa party namin.
For the reoccurring SC candidates, both parties propose quote-unquote urgent changes or rectang action as a main platform. Having seen firsthand the reality of how the student council operates, based on your experience this year, what specific obstacles hinder change from happening urgently or quickly, and what specific plans do you have to address these?
For me, as in my experience as a reoccurring student council officer, the main opponent or the main enemy in the implementation of projects as well as the planning is time. Every year, the student council is given enough time actually to plan for the projects, for the team building. However, we should be able to use more time of those during the summer break to already jumpstart the projects that need many things to prepare for. For example, the high school fair, the high school prom, all those need committees that include the participation of a large number of students. And we cannot just implement those projects in one setting, and that's what we learned in this year, since basically we face some challenges in time management, considering that we also underestimated how heavy it is to implement those kinds of projects. And we have learned that we will now wisely use the time allotted to us in ensuring that every project is implemented and planned for nicely.
Thank you, Harana Party. You may now take your seats. Next, Star Party, please go to the front. Now, for the Star Party, what is the difference between the proposed class officer and student leaders association and the student council if the student council itself based on the Constitution, is already a body composed of all students?
For me, I'd like to think of it as different. Kasi committees are implying that you're joining a committee on the guise that you're going to implement a student council project. Kunyari, that's why we have FAIR, we have prom committees. The goal of those committees to have members join in para sa manpower ng student council. Pero ang nasisip ko for class officer association is to have like association of student leaders. One of the main challenges talaga, lalo na was reflected during intrams, during very important events, was that the student leaders, sila palagi ang kawawa pagdating sa organization, pagdating sa passing down the announcements, and sila din palaging nasa sermon ng teachers sometimes. So I think it's important to take care of our class officers. So when you do join these kinds of associations, the goal here is that you will get the training, but you won't do any like the projects. It's about sharing, group sharing, and support group, parang ganun.
Next question for the reoccurring student council officers who chose to run again. Both parties proposed quote-unquote urgent changes or recta action as a main platform. Having seen firsthand the reality of how the student council operates, based on your experience this year, what specific obstacles hinder change from happening urgently or quickly? And what specific plans do you have to address these?
You know, to continue on yung sinabi ni Curve, nadadali kami palagi sa planning. There were so many ideas, so many plans nung when we just got elected. We had so many things that we wanted to do. We had a 3-day seminar. We had so many projects. But in the end, ending non fair, house cup at prom, and Valentine's lang, mostly ang projects na in-implement namin. The challenges definitely were we were not able to be real. Now, there were some projects that we will really not be able to implement, not just because we lack the committee members, but also because we lack the proper skills and experience to plan these events. And lastly, obstacles then, well, we have to admit that sometimes there are obstacles when it comes to our superiors sometimes. Minsan matagal ang processing ng funds. Minsan matagal din ang hindi palaging transparent. So we want those kinds of changes in the structural way so that we'll be able to implement our projects better.
In addition to party-specific questions, we will also open the floor questions where any candidate from either party can respond. As a reminder, let's foster an environment of healthy competition and collaboration as we navigate through these crucial inquiries. We will now show the Padlet screen with the questions to be answered. For the new student council candidates, in what specific ways did you contribute or participate actively in student council activities this school year as a non-student council officer? Any candidate from any party can answer.
As a class president this school year of grade 11 Ruiz, I was able to implement the House Cup system during the intramurals last March 2024. During this time, it was a very new experience for all the class presidents to continuously work with the SC to properly implement all the rules and regulations of the House Cup that will reflect in the flow of the intramurals. And overall, it was a really good experience and a really good exposure as to what I can bring to the SC and what I can further provide for the student body if elected next school year.
Are there anyone else who would like to?
For me, in an official capacity, I was a part of several committees throughout my time here in Miriam, mostly ranging from the media and internals committee, where I made pub mats and I tried my best to participate actively in meetings. However, in an unofficial capacity, I made sure to attend all the student council's open meetings, and I made sure to support my batch rep, Miguel Ledesma, and helping him come up with ideas and suggestions for the sake of not only our batch, but for also school events.
Is there anyone else?
As for me, as part of the presidents for the school year, like what Ate Lauren said earlier, as the president, we helped in implementing the House Cup, and for me personally, I think that I was able to fulfill my duty as a president um, to show to the class to actively engage in our class projects. Meanwhile, for the other activities, I would say that I was very active, such as I was able to be part of student committees that were implemented before, such as the media committee, and I was actively part of big programs this year, such as the organizers for this Proms Cotillion, which I think pushes me to offer more to our community here in MCN. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to answer the question? May I now move on to the next question? For the treasurer candidates, what do you consider to be the most important resource? Again, for the treasurer candidates, what do you consider to be the most important resource? Resource.
For For me, the most important resource would be the people or manpower. Because even with an infinite amount of money, you can't do anything with it if you don't even have people to work for a goal.
To stay consistent with my platform, I would say that the most important resource would be the active participation of the students within our community, as students' participation and active engagement within our community would help us lead into successful projects in which could help us gain additional funds, which in SC projects such as in this previous year, such as the Nolentines, we were able to get additional funds when selling the crochet flowers and a lot more. So without the students' participation, I don't think that projects would be as successful. So yeah, thank you.
From our Padlet that was previously released along with the sites, for the treasurers again, how keen are you in funding and prioritizing the MC100 fund over the student council's budget? And how are you going to do this? By how much % of profits of certain events like the prom or fair? One more time. How keen are you in funding and prioritizing the MC100 fund over the student council's budget? And how are you going to do this? By how much of % of profits of certain events like the prom or fair?
Uh, the candidates will be given 1 minute to think about their response. And if they are ready, they can approach the podium.
I would allocate 5% of the profit to MC 100, not only because scholars are a worthwhile investment, not just for the school, but for society in particular, as well as it being a relevant part in, as well as being a relevant part in inclusivity as additional cultures for our school. They will also benefit our current studying environment so that we may learn more about people outside of our current school or outside of our circles.
In preparation for the MC 100, we would guarantee to always allot a specific amount for this project as it will be part of the student council projects as well. But in our idea, from what we've discussed, we've been thinking of giving at least 20% for this. But of course, this may vary depending on where the initial funds may come from. So when it comes to additional funds, we could always give a certain allotted amount to this MC100 project. Thank you.
Next question for the candidates of the batch representatives. What measures do you implement to track and monitor the progress of issue resolution within a batch? Once again, what measures do you implement to track and monitor the progress of issue resolution within a batch? You'll be given 1 minute to think of your answer. Let's start with the Harana batch representatives first to answer this question.
I think that proper documentation of the updates regarding the issues within the batch are important so that you get to see on paper and it's written however the issues were resolved or what else needs to be done to resolve problems within the batch.
Thank you. Next batch representative for Harana.
The number one thing that you need to track or monitor the progress of issues and resolutions within the batch is your presence as a batch representative. Being aware with what the issues are in with your batch. And we can also make use of the batch kumustans, batch forms, and SC projects to like tell if, for example, do they have time? And if they don't have time, then that says a lot about the behavior or how they act. So you can really tell, or you can know like the progress of like the problems that are happening. Thank you.
Next batch representative.
So for me, to track you and monitor the progress of the issue, kinakailangan na if, for example, it's in the worst case scenario, pwede yun i-rely sa mga admins. And then, if hindi naman and you want to keep it inside the classroom or the batch, you can rely it to the homeroom advisors or maybe the officers muna bago the homeroom advisors so that we can have open communication. Like for example, in homeroom classes, we can raise our concerns to the officers or our advisors. And ayan.
Next batch representative.
Similar to what Ate Yumi said, I would also rely on the class advisors and the class officers because I know I can't solve it alone. And of course, I would also have the maturity to, of course, not take sides in issue progression. And yeah, that's all.
Next batch representative for Harana.
So basically, how I can, what the measures I can implement to track and monitor the issues of the resolution within the batch is by, for example, like asking them if they have issues and stuff. Like if I notice one of my batchmates are like, like down or something, I could like always adjust their issue to like, the student council, and yeah, that's it.
For the star batch representatives.
For me, there are two types of conflicts, severe and tame. Severe are involving about the whole class, and tame are more personal conflicts. And there are also confidential and non-confidential conflicts, one involving personal matters and one not. There are three types of parties involved in different conflicts. There's the involved authorities, involved parties, and uninvolved but affected parties. What I would do is I would make sure to not only receive frequent updates from these parties, but also to update them on any resolution to the matter.
Okay, so as a former class president, it was unavoidable for me to be a part of these issues within our batch. But the key to solving said conflicts is to have empathy, because if you have empathy, then you will be able to understand and respect everyone as a person, may it be the person who was wronged or the person who was in the wrong. And through caring, I will be able to properly hear all sides out and show that there is someone they can talk to, someone they can rely on, and someone they can come to for solutions, which would make it easier for me to understand any issue related situation within my batch and can give me an idea on who to ask for updates according to what happened in both parties. Thank you.
For the batch representatives, once again, what can you do to improve the previous terms of the past batch representatives? 1 minute to think of an answer. Okay, time is up. We will start with the Star Party batch representatives.
As much as I adore my previous batch rep, I would say that I would have to I would have to continue the batch surveys that he sort of quit the second quarter, and I would also to make sure to get updates on both batches and not just one classroom. Not only that, but I would try my best to continue the batch kamustahan, even if there is like several things going on. I would try my best to make time for that.
Okay, so an improvement I can make is to make it more fun so that even if we're all having a hard time, they'll still have it within them to push through towards more good times as they can constantly be reminded of the fact that they are not alone, for we have each other to rely on. Also, through moving frequently between both sections to be able to get batch updates, and so I'll be able to know how they are in the other section, even though I am not with them always. Thank you.
Next, batch representatives for the Harana Party. Time to collaborate was given earlier. Kindly step in front.
So what I can do to maybe like improve is I don't know, to be a bit more present in our batch, because like that is something I think we need to work on as leaders. We need to like be present towards like our batch and stuff. And another thing is to like, you know, not be biased, because like what I've noticed is that um like our previous batch rep, I am very sorry. Anyways, our previous batch rep, like what I've noticed is that like when it comes to these conflicts and stuff, they would usually take their friend's side. But what I would like to improve is that like, admitting that my friend is in the wrong or stuff, or yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, batch representative.
Okay, so for me, to improve, mas uunahin ko yung strength ng batch namin, which is yung creativity. At dito sa creativity, pagsasama-samahin ko yung mga interests, tapos yung mga talents ng mga batchmates ko. And sa pamamagitan nito, i-control ko siya sa pamamagitan ng consistency and organizations. And yung responsibility ko din bilang batch representative na accommodate yung kung ano man yung opinion nila, yung pananaw nila, and yung culture ng us as a batch representative. As a batch, batch.
Thank you. Next, batch representative, please.
So to improve the previous term of mine, I would like to improve and to rely on open communication. I know to myself that realistically, I've not been there for all the times that my batch needs me, but I'm here to regain myself and to be more active in the batch. If I am elected again, I would continue to improve and to avoid hesitation whenever I'm performing my role as batch representative.
I think one thing that was lacking was the opportunity for the batch to interact as a whole together. So I think that if there were more instances where the batch could have gatherings, it would improve batch unity. That would then allow us to work better as a team and as a whole.
Thank you to all the candidates for your thoughtful responses to the party questions and open floor inquiries. Your dedication to addressing these critical issues demonstrates your commitment to serving the student body and fostering positive change within our school community.
As we near the conclusion of this dynamic exchange of ideas and aspirations, each candidate will now deliver a closing statement to encapsulate their vision, commitment, and appeal to the student body. Let your voices be heard loud and clear as you make your final pitch to secure the trust and the votes of your peers. So for each candidate, you will be calling on to each position for their 1 minute. So first, for the candidates for president, Irv Nidea.
For my final statement, I speak not just for myself but on behalf of all candidates present here today na kahit anuman ang maging resulta ng eleksyon, we will remain as stewards of our school as we help in building a school community that you can be proud of. And it is of my own ambition that I stand here in front of you, and all of my experiences as an SC officer are dedicated to this very moment. Once more, I am Curve Nidea running for the position of president. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirv. Next, for the internal vice president, Miguel Ledesma.
For me, when I look back as a batch representative and going forward to internal vice president, one of the things that allowed me to get to be where I am is because people trusted me and voted for me last year. I ran last year as an independent candidate, but now this year I'm running as part of a party, although only against abstain. So with that, I want to emphasize that I hope that for you, you try to consider as well other options for your candidates as much as possible. I also want you to consider our party, the Star Party. But at the same time, I also want that you check our programs, you check our platforms, and I know that as personally as SC, I do feel that I have a lot of shortcomings, but I want to emphasize that because of this party system, I'm able to find candidates who share the vision, who share ideas on how to improve and how to criticize the SC so that we will have better reforms.
Thank you, Miguel. Now let's move on to the candidates for external vice president, Lauren.
Up until now, it's taken me a lot of courage to stand in front of my community and put myself out there. But in the end, I've made a decision to dedicate myself to representing your interests and advocating for your needs. All I need now is for you to trust me. Vote me, Lauren Buella, for external vice president, and let's make our vision a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Next, for our candidates for secretary, Lara Sese.
So for my final statement, I just want to thank everyone for being here and listening to each of the candidates. And I think for someone who wants to be the secretary, I feel like my final statement will be more for whoever will be the future student council. That I hope that you guys will trust me, and I'll try my best to make your lives easier as officers and to keep things organized so that things will be at least a bit more easier for our student leaders, faculty, and of course all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. Now for our candidates for treasurer, let's begin with Ruriel de los Reyes.
There's only so much a handful of people can do. So we call on you, your suggestions, your ideas. May you open our eyes to a greater picture. For me, I have projects, programs, reforms, all in mind to aid our ever-fluctuating morale and budget. I am confident in what I can bring to the table, most especially in what I can do for you. And if you don't think so, just watch me go. Because remember, in the star party, you are the star.
Thank you, Uriel. Now,
To me, if you want a leader that prioritizes servant leadership and someone who is firm and is able to communicate well, uh, and able to have unity in our community, I I I vote me as the treasurer for this student council, for this upcoming student council.
thank you. Now for our candidates for grade 12 batch representative, let's begin with Julian Marie Awayan.
I stand before you today as a Batch 12 representative, not just because I believe in myself and my ability to think outside the box and be creative, but because I believe in my batchmates and in my community. I don't believe, but I know that we can make something good this school year, and I hope that I get the chance to work with all of you. Thank you.
The student council is only here because the students have entrusted these individuals to lead them. I can assure you that Harana will make your voices heard, and Harana's initiatives are created for you, and we will cater to your needs. Again, I am Zuleika Kotehar, running for grade 12 batch representative.
Thank you. Now let's move on to our candidates for grade 11 batch representative, Princess Kaden Yumi Espiridion.
I just want to emphasize with one sentence, lahat kayo ay pantay-pantay sa aking paningin at hindi lamang ang action ko ang kumikilos, kundi ang mga boses niya din. So choose wisely. I am Yumi Espiridion from grade 10 Rizal, representing the grade 11 batch.
Thank you, Yumi. Now for our grade 10 batch representative candidates, let's begin with Rihanna Phoebe Milan.
I am here again to serve you, and I will improve myself to be a better batch representative. I would like to set an example and show you that being a leader is a wonderful thing to achieve. Sorry for my shortcomings again, though, but I am Rihanna Phoebe Milian, running for grade 10 batch representative.
Next, Alicia Kelis Yamaguchi.
Once again, I am Alicia Callis Iyamaguchi, running to serve as Batch Purple's next batch representative. To me, becoming an SC officer has been a dream come true, as since grade 7, students like them have been one of my biggest inspirations, but only now have I had the courage to try becoming one of them. And if ever I do become Batch Purple's next batch representative, I promise to still be who I am today while learning from my mistakes to fully grow mentally, spiritually, physically, and holistically as a person. As my current intentions for running besides growth is to give back to Miriam, for I am grateful for everything I've achieved thanks to them, and plan on starting to give back next school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's move on to our grade 9 batch representative candidate Rai Dizon.
I would like to take this time to thank everyone for taking their time to listen to each and every candidate's speeches. And I would like to remind everyone to always vote wisely. Again, I am Rena Dizon, running for grade 9 batch representative. Thank you.
Thank you, Rai. And last but not least, our candidate for grade 8 batch representative, Faith Simpao.
To wrap everything up, I believe that if we are united, we will be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish as one. Once again, I am Faith Simpao, willing to serve as grade 8's next batch rep.
Thank you, Faith. And once again, thank you to all of our candidates. Let us give them a round of applause. And now for some following announcements. Here are the remaining schedule for our Student Council election and some announcements about the upcoming fair. First, about the Student Council elections. On May 7 will be the last day of campaigning for all Student Council candidates. And May 8, Wednesday, will be our election day. You can visit the Student Council social media accounts for more information about the Student Council election. The results of the Student Council election will be announced at the Student Council Fair. Next, about the fair, you can visit the Student Council social media accounts for more information about the fair, and you can refer to the circular that was released by your class presidents in your respective Google Chats or Google Classrooms. If you have any other concerns about the Student Council election, their upcoming school fair, please contact any member of the Student Council Executive Board. On behalf of the organizing committee, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the candidates, audience members, and participants for making this Meeting de Avance a resounding success. Remember, the power to shape the future of our school lies in your hands. So exercise your right to vote wisely and conscientiously for candidates who embody your values and your aspirations. Let us uphold the spirit of unity, integrity, and progress as we pave the way for a brighter tomorrow at Miriam College. Thank you all for your active engagement and support throughout this event. Let's conclude this round of applause for our dedicated candidates and their unwavering commitment to serve the student body. Let us come together in unity and pride by honoring our school tradition through the singing of our beloved Miriam hymn. Thank you everyone for